Liberty Nation with Tim Donner.
Say what? Say what? Say what? One more time.
We kick things off with our signature segment, Say What, where we roll out a virtual assembly line of wacky, astonishing, damnable, and ultimately revealing things uttered by politicians and the chattering class. President Trump has now laid down his marker and established his beachhead for the presidential election now less than 4 months away. He traveled to Mount Rushmore and established the defining issue of his campaign, a ringing defense of Western civilization.
I am here as your president to proclaim before the country and before the world, this monument will never be desecrated. These heroes will never be defaced. Their legacy will never, ever be destroyed. Their achievements will never be forgotten. And Mount Rushmore will stand forever as an eternal tribute to our forefathers and to our freedom.
And then the president spared no harsh words in condemning the Black Lives Matter Marxist assault on American culture.
There is a growing danger that threatens every blessing our ancestors fought so hard for, struggled, they bled to secure. Our nation is witnessing a merciless campaign to wipe out our history, defame our heroes, erase our values, and indoctrinate our children. Angry mobs are trying to tear down statues of our founders, deface our most sacred memorials, and unleash a wave of violent crime in our cities. They think the American people are weak and soft and submissive. But no, the American people are strong and proud, and they will not allow our country and all of its values, history, and culture to be taken from them.
Of course, the left-wing media absolutely despised that speech. And as the always reliable and incisive Molly Hemingway said on the Federalist podcast, the media has now taken its bias to another level.
I think people are kind of used to seeing the media behave poorly when they are supposed to be reporting on events. This was the first time I saw sort of an all hands on deck, we have to lie about what happened. This is something altogether different. It's like the guardrails are completely off. However they had been used before to keep people from just completely going off the side of the road, that's just gone. And if it's like you need to lie about it, that's fine. If you need to deny what was in your own newspaper the day before, that's fine. Whatever it takes to defeat the bad orange man apparently will be supported, tolerated, and encouraged by many major media figures.
And so the president deals with sworn enemies not just in politics, but in the press and academia, who are willing to say or do anything to bring him down. And many of them are now even all but admitting it with their behavior, if not their words. This, as Trump deals with the simultaneous sword of Damocles, a virulent virus that won't go away, some 3 million cases of COVID. We'll talk later about whether Trump can embrace his role as the rare president entering the home stretch of a presidential race as an underdog and overcome his current bulging deficit in public polls. But let's hammer the point home again for those still confusing Black Lives Matter with a racial justice movement. Black Lives Matter has not even tried to hide its Marxist ideology. One of the co-founders recently admitted it openly. And yet, their transparently totalitarian ideology has slipped the notice of almost all elite media. But not everyone is willing to cower in fear. Longtime ESPN sports journalist and black man Jason Whitlock went on Fox News to decry the NFL's reported decision to fully bow before Black Lives Matter.
If the NFL starts out its season with everyone standing for Lift Every Voice and Sing, the Black National Anthem, and then virtually everyone on the field taking a knee when the Star Spangled Banner plays, the NFL will run off a nice fat chunk of its audience and will never be seen the same again. There's no way you can do any homework on Black Lives Matters and not see that it's a Marxist political organization. It's not about black death. It's not about black men. It is a political move. It's a communist political move. This is a historic failure of men and leadership. This is cowardice at its highest level.
And the NFL is not the only sports league prostrating themselves before Black Lives Matter in full compliance with their demands. The NBA will plaster the Black Lives Matter logo on all their playing surfaces. And NBA player Marcellus Wiley says nobody is willing to pay attention to their toxic cultural goals.
I don't know how many people really look into the mission statement of Black Lives Matter, but I did. Being a father and a husband, that's my mission in life right now. How do I reconcile that with this mission statement that says, quote, we dismantle the patriarchal practice. We disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement. Children from single-parent homes versus two-parent homes. The children from the single-parent homes, this is in 1995, 5 times more likely to commit suicide, 6 times more likely to be in poverty, 9 times more likely to drop out of high school, 10 times more likely to abuse chemical substances, 14 times more likely to commit rape, 20 times more likely to end up in prison, and 32 times more likely to run away from home.
Yes, there are still some people, like Marcellus Wiley, projecting honesty and courage, willing to speak out about the growing acceptance of a patently un-American ideology. You see, politics has always been downstream from culture. The Marxists, communists have always followed the axiom that if you win the culture, the politics will follow. That's how they took over Russia and China. Foment culture wars, stoke violence in the streets, and ultimately take over a weakened and retreating state. But as if Trump didn't have enough to worry about, how about this one? The Trump-Kanye alliance is over.
Kanye West's July 4th announcement that he's running for president took the world by storm. But the rapper isn't quite done dropping some shocking truths. The Yeezus singer spoke with Forbes to clarify whether or not he's serious about running for president. Spoiler alert, yes, he is.
After courting controversy for his support of U.S. President Donald Trump, Kanye officially tells Forbes magazine, "I'm taking the red hat off."
Now, you might ordinarily dismiss a celebrity candidate like that, but both Trump and Biden should be concerned because Biden is counting on a huge black turnout for him, and Trump has worked tirelessly to win more of that black vote. Kanye West, if he actually stays in the race, complicates things for both sides. But as we understandably focus on getting people well and back to work and try to wrestle with the chaos in the streets, the world goes on. And so does China with its campaign to put the boot on Hong Kong. And as Secretary of State Mike Pompeo announced this week, that campaign is now complete.
The Chinese Communist Party implemented its draconian national security law on Hong Kong in violation of commitments that it made to the Hong Kong people and to the United Kingdom, in a UN-registered treaty, and in contravention of Hong Kongers' human rights and fundamental freedoms. Free Hong Kong was one of the world's most stable, prosperous, and dynamic cities. Now it will be just another communist-run city where its people will be subject to the party elite's whims. It's sad.
Sad is an understatement. But this revived march of tyranny in our country and around the world brings right to mind the words and warning of one Ronald Reagan when he said, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States where men were free.